One person has been found dead following a house fire in Courtice. Family members now identifying the victim as a 77-year-old man who lived alone.
We're keeping an eye on the Gardiner for the evening commute after a water main break disrupted this morning's rush hour.
And a live look at Pearson Airport, where Canadian athletes are arriving home from the Milano Cortina Winter Games. This is Live at 5. Hello, I'm Melissa Duggan.
I'm Liz West. Welcome to Live at 5. Canadians in Mexico continue to shelter in place as violence grips part of the country. Government officials warn that Jalisco and Nayarit states, including the popular resort of Puerto Vallarta, are currently unsafe for travel. This after the Mexican army announced it killed the leader of a major drug cartel. Now, cartel members responded with violence across the country, blocking roads and setting fire to vehicles. The situation has led multiple Canadian airlines to cancel flights to the area.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand has more to say, some information she's sharing this morning.
I am in contact with my Mexican counterpart, who expects the situation to normalize in the coming days. Our ambassador and consular staff are working with their counterparts to ensure that Canadians remain safe. Last evening, we updated our travel advisory to first expand the list of affected areas, to alert that volatility may continue to spread, and 3, align travel advisories with that of our peers.
And we're also hearing from Premier Doug Ford. He's urging Ontarians not to make travel plans to Mexico.
I highly recommend don't go to Mexico. I highly recommended that before this happened, and just focus on getting home. Anything they need or the federal government needs, we're there for them to help them get out of there.
With March break coming up, Mayor Olivia Chow is urging residents to be prepared to change their travel plans.
Between Cuba and Mexico, for people going south, it's difficult times. So if you have plans, keep an eye out on what Global Affairs and the federal government is putting out. And there's a travel advisory out. I know people are trying to, in some parts of Mexico, are trying to come back to the city of Toronto or come back home. So we'll continue to work with the federal government in any way to assist. But those that have booked March break holidays, be on the lookout that you may have to change them.
Yeah, the violence in Puerto Vallarta has been witnessed by Canadians on vacation. Oshawa resident Dan Parker was watching the gold medal hockey game on a pub patio yesterday when a vehicle was firebombed.
Several motorcycles rolled by fairly quickly and then came to a quick stop just a few doors down from the pub that I was at. And next thing I know, they were firebombing this car, and it was right in front of us, basically. Anyway, everybody jumped into the to the bar, and then they came back around and started going in different directions. I stepped out in the street and I videoed the car that was set ablaze.
Scary scene there. Ryan Ski, we're also hearing from him. He's a Torontonian who is stranded in Puerto Vallarta right now. He spoke to CP24 about the situation there.
Yesterday, it was a little chaotic. We went down for breakfast. It's kind of by the beach here at the hotel. And across the bay is downtown, and we started seeing all these clouds of smoke. And so it was a little bit distressing, didn't really know what was going on at first. And so we looked, kind of did some research and saw what was going on. And after that, we had seen that the government had issued a code red, and we were ordered to stay in the hotel after that. So it's quite the scene here. Everywhere that you could see, we could see smoke kind of in every direction from our balcony.
And while Canadian Airlines have canceled many flights to Puerto Vallarta, some are still taking off bound for other parts of Mexico. And for more on how violence in the country is affecting travelers, let's go live to CP24's Steve Ryan, who is at Pearson Airport right now. And what are you hearing from people coming and going?
Well, we're down in the coming spot, if you will. That is the arrivals here in Terminal 3. And the people that have been arriving in Terminal 3 from Mexico have been coming from 3,000 kilometers away. So they really are unaffected by what's transpired in Puerto Vallarta. Now I'm here joined by two who just got off the flight, Dan and
Angie.
Angie, thank you. I'll start with you. Your thoughts on first the news that what happened in Puerto Vallarta yesterday?
We found out yesterday afternoon from people up here texting us, and we turned the news on, but we weren't overly concerned at the time.
Did you notice any heightened security once that news broke yesterday?
Around our resort, we didn't. But arriving at the airport in Cancun this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, it was definitely, there was military presence involved there, but nothing really inside the airport. It wasn't really that big of a deal, it seemed.
Was there any sharing of information with regards to those people at your resort keeping you updated, or was it mentioned at all even?
Just guests talking about it. Nobody on the resort said anything to us at all, so.
I don't think we would have known if our friends from back home hadn't messaged us asking if we were okay. We were wondering what was happening ourselves. So.
And what was your reaction when you heard about the violence that was taking place in Puerto Vallarta, given it was 2,800 kilometers away, roughly?
Yeah.
When we found out where it was, then I think that it relaxed us. At first, until we knew where it was, we were kind of going, oh boy. But then once you found out, you kind of simmered down and went, okay, we'll just wait it out.
How about you?
Well, we're keeping in contact with one of my friends, our friends, that's in Puerto Vallarta, where some of the stuff's gone on.
Right now?
He's there right now. He's waiting.
How's that?
They seem fine. He said it's just quiet. Like, that's all he's noticed out of his resort. He said it's just the streets are really quiet. And I believe his flight's been canceled or delayed. He's supposed to fly out Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So.
What about at the airport? Any talk at the airport where you guys came from with regards to what happened, or on the flight home? Any chatter about it at all?
None that I heard, no.
No. Yeah, like I said, if it wasn't for the news, we wouldn't really know about it.
I appreciate your time. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And that's pretty much what everybody has been saying that's exited from the arrivals this afternoon when they've been here. And that is, a lot of them didn't know, other than the fact that they had family and friends calling them or texting them from other places, asking them if they were okay. But for the most part, people were not really concerned about what had happened, and for the most part, people said that they did not see any change in heightened security. Now, it is 2,800 kilometers away from where this happened, but nonetheless, you would think that it might have some effects around the entire country, but that certainly doesn't seem to be the case from the people we've been talking with. So back to you guys.
All right, Steve, thanks for that.
We are following other news out of Pearson today. Air travel disruptions for a different reason. Dozens of flights at Pearson Airport canceled because of a northeastern U.S. storm. It's being hit by a blizzard there. The bomb cyclone has hammered a large area from Maryland to Maine, forcing millions of people to stay home. Meteorologists said the storm is the strongest in a decade, dumping more than 50 centimeters in New York's Central Park and more than 80 centimeters in Rhode Island. More than 5,600 flights in and out of the U.S. were canceled today, and a further 2,000 flights scheduled for tomorrow are grounded.
And delays on the Gardiner this afternoon as crews are still working to fix a broken water main. The problem was noticed this morning after water covered multiple lanes. One lane is blocked each way near Park Lawn. That's along with the ramp from Park Lawn to the westbound Gardiner. A statement from the city reads, in part, the City of Toronto became aware of a water main break earlier this morning on the Gardiner Expressway at Grand Avenue. Crews attended the scene shortly after, have isolated the break, and flooding has stopped. Further investigation will help determine the cause of the break and inform the repair timeline. The city thanks the public for their patience as crews work to address the situation as quickly and safely as possible.
Let's get a check on the commute now with CP24 traffic specialist Adjoa and Sia Yoboa. I know you're keeping an eye on the Gardiner.
I am, and it has not been an easy drive for commuters traveling into and out of the downtown core because there are lanes impacted. You know, if you're on the eastbound side, I'll show you a view. It's the eastbound Gardiner right at Park Lawn, water main repairs in the left lane. If you're on the westbound side, there is another water main that burst. So the Park Lawn on-ramp to the westbound Gardiner is blocked as well, has the right lane of the highway, so it's slow into and out of the downtown core. Now, if you're on the opposite end of the Gardiner, headed towards the DVP, some good news. We were dealing with a pretty serious collision on the eastbound Gardiner approaching the DVP. It was the two left lanes that were blocked. We are dealing with some brand new problems. The eastbound 401, just as you make your way in the Express. This is just as you approach Renforth. It looks like it's the two center lanes blocked because of this stalled dump truck and another stall It's on the eastbound lanes of the 401 past the Allen. Find the right lane in the collectors blocked with this ongoing stalled vehicle. Outside of camera view, getting word of a collision on city streets, blocking lanes on Dufferin and Steeles.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Now to Samantha TC at the TTC Transit Control Center. Happy Monday, Samantha. Just checking in to see if there are any issues on TTC that commuters should know about.
Thanks, Adjoa. So if you are headed out tonight, we are following a service disruption affecting the 510 Spadina streetcars. So service on the 510 Spadina route has been suspended while our crews work to repair some overhead emergency power issues in the Spadina Avenue area. So if you are traveling, don't worry, we got you covered with plenty of alternatives. So we are running shuttle buses from the Spadina station to the intersection of Spadina and Queens Quay. And if you are traveling from Union Station across the waterfront, we have ramped up service on the 509 Harbourfront route to get you traveling in that area and to make the connection to the 510 Spadina buses. Now, looking quickly underground at our subway routes, things are moving well this evening with no delays reported on lines 1, 2, or 4. And things are also shaping up well on the LRT lines with no delays reported there either. Now, to stay up to date on the latest of that 510 Spadina issue, make sure to check us out at the ttc.ca website for live service alerts. And with that, I'll send it back to you guys in the newsroom.
Samantha, thanks so much for that.
And some Canadian athletes returning home today after the Winter Games wrapped up in Italy yesterday. Let's take a live look at Pearson Airport today. That's where 2 Air Canada flights are landing this afternoon. They'll be carrying members of Team Canada, including the silver medalists on Canada's women's hockey team. So it'll be a little heavier on that flight. Canada finished 11th in the standings, bringing home 21 medals, including 5 gold. It's the first time since 1994 that Canada has placed outside the top 5 at the Winter Olympics. Norway led all countries with 41 medals and set a Winter Olympic record with 17 golds.
Yeah, a little extra hardware on that flight home. It is 5:12 minus 6. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, Toronto police searching for a man who was unlawfully at large. They allege the man was released on bail and never returned.
Toronto police are searching for a man unlawfully at large. It's reported 28-year-old Jamal Sylvester was released from a bail center earlier this month. And that's near Finch Avenue and Highway 400, and he never returned, despite being subject to a warrant to return to custody and serve a jail sentence. He's described as 6 feet tall, about 200 pounds. Investigators say he's known to frequent the Rexdale area. Anyone with information is urged to contact police.
And one person's been found dead following a house fire in Durham region. Police say the person was found dead in the home near King Street East and Town Line Road in Courtice. The fire started around 10:30 last night, and the flames are now out. The Ontario Fire Marshal has been called in to investigate.
Our investigators are determining the structure of the building, the safety of the building. Once that's determined, at that point, then they'll enter the building to determine the origin and cause of the fire.
No other injuries were reported.
2 Toronto men facing charges following an investigation into an attempted robbery in York region. Investigators releasing this video of the arrests that were made after officers responded to a call for a suspicious vehicle near Islington and Stegmans Road in Kleinburg. One suspect taken into custody after a foot chase. The other was found hiding in a backyard shed with the assistance of police dogs and a helicopter. Police say the suspect's vehicle had been stolen from Toronto on February 8th. 24-year-old Anthony Mitchell, 22-year-old Joshua Adams are charged with attempted robbery disguised with intent and possession of property obtained by crime. Investigators say they believe the pair may be connected to similar incidents in the region. Anyone with information being asked to contact York Regional Police or Crime Stoppers.
And Hamilton police are launching a new online reporting option for human trafficking. Police say it's designed to enhance victim safety and accessibility by providing an alternative for people who may not feel safe or who are unable to attend a police station in person. Officials say human trafficking victims often face significant barriers to seeking help. And this initiative aims to reduce those barriers while offering a discreet and secure way to reach police.
It is 5:16 on your Monday, -6, feeling more like -15. This is Live at 5.
And up ahead, critics are speaking out against changes to student assistance in Ontario. The opposition is speaking out against the Ford government's plan to slash OSAP grants. Starting in September, the province will cap the amount a student can get in grants at 25%, with the remaining 75% of the financial assistance given as a loan. Now, that's down from the current system where up to 85% could be forgiven. The Premier says taxpayers don't want to fund students who choose career paths that don't drive economic growth. Critics say it just is adding to the amount of debt young people are facing at a time where youth jobs are hard to come by.
When you take a course, you have to look at in-demand jobs, something that we can drive our economy. And it's not a God-given right to take taxpayers' money.
We have the highest rates of youth unemployment in Canada. And the Premier wants to talk about in-demand degrees. How are students going to afford that?
It's a punishment for being poor. It is a punishment for those who have gone through extreme hardship and cannot fight for themselves.
Raheem White is the high school representative with the Ontario Young Liberals and the former student trustee with the Dufferin Peel Catholic Board. He joined us live to talk about the burden that the changes put on families.
Funny enough, I had a conversation with my mom the weekend of the announcement, because he made it right before Family Day weekend. And we're talking about, well, what this is going to mean for our family. I'm going to graduate university with practically $30,000 of student loans to pay back. My family were a bit more, well, less risk averse than others, so we're not going to have a problem, I guess, taking that on. But that's not the case for many others, and I don't think the burden should be on students, whether current ones or prospective students like myself, and their families to be calculating our debt before we even start.
A Change.org petition calling for a reversal of the changes hit 3,000 signatures in less than 12 hours, then quickly grew to more than 7,000.
A new Toronto community housing building. It is officially open. It's in the Alexandra Park neighborhood.
3, 2, 1.
The ribbon has been cut. 130 Augusta Avenue is the new home of the Atkinson Cooperative, the first housing co-op in the country to be created by a social housing provider. The new building features 103 units and a city-run daycare for 62 children. It also has an outdoor community garden. You can find that on the 5th floor.
This neighborhood has always has something that money can't buy. People who look out for each other and take care of each other. That's very special. And it was out of that closeness and trust that a big idea was born. And I remember when that dream first took shape, it was in the early 90s. I was a Metro Councillor at the time for this neighborhood. The residents asked a simple but powerful question. Why can't we have a real say in how our homes are run?
This building is more than just the bricks and mortars. It's a fresh start for so many families that are going to be moving in from old spaces into these new homes, and it's filled with promise, comfort, and community. I've had the privilege of supporting many of these transitions, and I've seen firsthand the joy and excitement that this brings, and it's truly a rewarding experience.
It represents new homes for folks from the Atkinson Co-op to come back to. More than 100 families will come back and call this home. We're very proud of our approach where, although it's impactful and people are affected by the construction and the work that goes on, they've been accommodated on site. And now they're ready to come back and be a part of this wonderful brand new building.
As for the old Atkinson Co-op building, it'll be torn down to make way for more new affordable housing.
And Premier Doug Ford is responding to a U.S. Supreme Court decision that struck down sweeping tariffs. Ford says now is the time to act for the province and the country.
Things change on a daily basis, as everyone knows. President Trump could wake up and, a couple options. We move forward and we get a deal, or he might blow up the Kuzma deal. But we have to have plans for everything. And, I always say, and I've said this to the federal government, hope is not a strategy. A strategy is getting out there, making sure that we focus on our key areas of our economy, no matter right now if it's building out nuclear, cutting regulatory conditions.
Canadian exports to the U.S. that comply with CUSMA are exempt from the new global tariffs announced by Trump. Auto, steel, and aluminum tariffs remain in place because they were imposed under different legislation.
It is 5:23 minus 6. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, celebrating Jamaican Patty Day right here in Toronto.
Perhaps a dinner idea for you here, Liz. A staple of Caribbean cuisine being celebrated in the city today. It is Jamaican Patty Day, if you didn't happen to know. Free patties were being handed out at Union Station's Bay Kiosk to mark the occasion. The event, it pays tribute to Toronto's so-called patty wars dating back to 1985. That was when food inspectors decided Jamaican patty vendors couldn't describe their offerings as beef patties anymore. The issue eventually resolved through a series of negotiations, and Jamaican Patty Day was born.
In Canada, patty is another beef. It's put in bun, and ours from the island of Jamaica, this is traditionally what we call patty. It's beef, it's chicken, and now it has bloomed into so many variations of patty. You can have ackee patty, you can have vegetarian patty, but synonymous to Jamaica is the beef or chicken patty.
Delicious. Organizers of today's event say more than 3,000 patties were given away.
And the city says it's opening 3 additional warming centers in response to the frigid temperatures that are on the way. The sites at Cecil Community Center, Jimmy Simpson Recreation Center, and 136 Spadina Road will open at 5 p.m. Now, that is in addition to the other 4 warming centers that have been operating. The city says warming centers are pet-friendly and focus on providing vulnerable residents with resting spaces, meals, access to washroom facilities, and referrals to emergency shelter.
A couple of early nightly closures to deal with on the subway this week. Keep this in mind. TTC saying that trains will stop running at 11:59 tonight. On line 2, that's between Keele and St. George. It's for track work. That closure, it's going to be in place through Friday. Over on line 1, service there will end at 11 p.m. from Finch to Eglinton through tonight into Thursday. That is for planned tunnel work. Shuttle buses, though, they will be running until the end of service. Normal service, that's going to resume the following morning at 6. It is 5:28 minus 6. This is Live at 5.
More than 26,000 Canadians registered in Mexico amid violence in several parts of the country. We'll hear from some of the GTA residents stuck in Mexico. That's coming up.
Some GTA residents are stranded in Mexico after violence broke out in several parts of the country.
One person has been found dead following a house fire in Courtice. Family members have been identifying the victim as a 77-year-old man who lived alone.
We are keeping an eye on the Gardiner for the evening commute after a water main break disrupted this morning's rush hour.
And here's a live look at Pearson Airport. That's where Canadian athletes are arriving home from the Milano Cortina Winter Games. This is Live at 5. Hi, everyone. I'm Liz West.
And I'm Melissa Duggan. Welcome to Live at 5. Some Canadian athletes are returning home today from the Winter Games. Let's go live to CTV's Beth McDonnell at Pearson Airport. How's that homecoming going out there, Beth?
Proud. Thank you so much. I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did you feel the love from home?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got this message just kept pouring in, and yeah, it's nice to know we have the country behind us. Yeah.
I see you just talking
I'm
with
standing.
I just saw you talking live.
Yes, just talking with an athlete. Brett Gallant, actually, he was in 2 competitions, just landed here at Pearson, and actually in the second week of the games got a gold medal in curling. So mega congratulations to him. So exciting just to hear about his journey and his trip and just what the competition was like and what it's like to receive a gold medal and feel, I asked him, is he feeling a golden glow? And he said, definitely I am. And he talked about what a thrill it was going to these games, but there's no rest for this man. He is back here right now, but he's off to another competition in St. John's, Newfoundland. So very exciting. He's just one of the athletes that we're expecting. We're expecting bobsleigh athletes. We're also expecting hockey, women's hockey athletes, and we're expecting a freestyle skier as well, Evan McEachran, to come out and tell us about his experience. Back to you.
Beth, I wonder if you could set the scene for us. I'm just so curious what it looks like there when they're welcoming these athletes back to Pearson.
There's a big build-up.
Yeah, no, well, there's been quite the press setup. So we're basically in a pit right now for media. We're just kind of getting out of the scrum area there. And so you can see this is where they've corralled the media here at Pearson. So here are the doors right here. You have organizers and people kind of trying to give us timelines on when these athletes are coming out. And then, you know, we're able to step up to this red carpet, so to speak, and ask them about their experiences. So, you know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for so many of these athletes, and how exciting that we get to be here when they come out. I'm especially excited to speak to some of the women hockey players. Last week, I was watching those games very carefully and so proud of them and everything that they've accomplished. Disappointing for Canada for sure. So many of us wanted them to have that gold medal, but at the same time, they performed so well, and I'm sure it's going to be a special homecoming for them. Back to you.
Appreciate that, Beth. Thanks so much. Beth McDonnell reporting for us live from Pearson Airport. We see those Canada flags out there. Give everyone a warm welcome.
It's exciting seeing the athletes in person versus on our TV screen. All right, now, if you're on the Gardiner, though, you know about the delays that have been taking place this afternoon as crews are still working to fix a broken water main, which in the winter, that's not a good thing. The problem was noticed this morning after water covered multiple lanes, one lane blocked each way near Park Lawn, along with the ramp from Park Lawn to the westbound Gardiner. In a statement from the city, in part it reads, the city of Toronto became aware of a water main break earlier this morning on the Gardiner Expressway at Grand Avenue. Crews attended the scene shortly after and have isolated the break, and the flooding has stopped. Further investigation will help determine the cause of the break and inform the repair timeline. The city thanks the public for their patience as crews work to address the situation as quickly and safely as possible.
All right, so let's get an update on that situation on the Gardiner. Let's check in with CP24 traffic specialist Adjoa Nsia-Yeboah. Any improvement there, Adj?
Not so much. Patience is what commuters on the Gardiner are going to need, Melissa. So we'll start with the eastbound side where the left lane is still blocked because of that burst water main that happened this morning. The good news is there's no more water on the roadway. And if you're on the westbound side, not too sure this completely zoomed in, but it might be a good sign that this right lane is reopened. Unfortunately, though, the Park Lawn on-ramp to the westbound Gardiner is still impacted. And if you're traveling on the westbound side, the backlog is from York Bay Yonge. And on the eastbound side, it's backed up onto the southbound 427 from Dundas. So really not an easy afternoon drive. And then up on the 401, major problems coming into the traffic desk. This is the eastbound 401 right through Dixie. Looks like cars are only getting by on the shoulder because of this multi-vehicle collision involving a transport truck and a number of other vehicles. And the only other issue I'm spotting is on the southbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway. This is just as you make your way south of Lawrence. It's a stalled garbage truck. Does have that right lane and shoulder occupied. Going to send it over to Samantha TC now at the TTC Transit Control Center. Samantha, there's still issues on the 510 Spadina?
That's right, Adjoa. So we are tracking that service suspension along the 510 Spadina route. So streetcar service has been temporarily suspended on the entire line. And this is while crews repair some damaged cables that they have identified in the Spadina Avenue area. Now, if you are traveling, we got you covered with replacement buses. Those are running from the Spadina station to the intersection of Queens Quay and Lower Spadina. Now, if you are traveling from Union Station and across the waterfront corridor, we have ramped up service on the 509 Harbourfront streetcar route. So extra vehicles are running along the 509 Harbourfront to make that connection to the 510 Spadina buses. Now, looking underground at our subway lines, things are moving well tonight with no issues reported on lines 1, 2, or 4. And things are also shaping up well for lines 5 and 6 this evening. Now, to stay up to date on the latest, make sure to check us out at ttc.ca, or you can follow at TTC Notices for live updates. And that's it for us here at Transit Control. I'll send it back to you both in the newsroom.
Thanks for that update, Samantha. And Canadians in Mexico continue to shelter in place as violence grips part of the country. Government officials warn that Jalisco and Nayarit states, including the popular resort of Puerto Vallarta, are currently unsafe for travel after the Mexican army announced it killed the leader of a major drug cartel. Cartel members responded with violence across the country, blocking roads and setting fire to vehicles. The situation has led to multiple Canadian airlines canceling flights to the area. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand had more information on this morning.
Local authorities have, in some cases, issued a shelter-in-place order, and the situation remains fluid. All Canadians in affected regions should heed the direction of local authorities and travel only when it is safe to do so. As of 7 o'clock this morning, 26,305 Canadians in Mexico have registered with Global Affairs Canada. That is an increase of nearly 8,000 from the same time yesterday.
Among the other officials we're hearing from is Premier Doug Ford, who is urging Ontarians not to make travel plans to Mexico.
That's pretty unstable when you're taking out drug cartels and all of a sudden they're hitting back against tourists and everyone else. It's, in my opinion, it's not a stable country right now. Don't go there, and maybe pick an island somewhere or here in Canada.
March break, of course, just around the corner. Mayor Olivia Chow is urging residents to be prepared to change their travel plans.
Between Cuba and Mexico, for people going south, it's difficult times. So if you have plans, keep an eye out on what Global Affairs and the federal government is putting out. And there's a travel advisory out. I know people are trying to, in some parts of Mexico, are trying to come back to the city of Toronto or come back home. So we'll continue to work with the federal government in any way to assist. But those that have booked March break holidays, be on the lookout that you may have to change them.
The violence in Puerto Vallarta has been witnessed by Canadians on vacation. Oshawa resident Dan Parker was watching the gold medal hockey game on a pub patio yesterday when a vehicle was firebombed. He made it back safely to his condo.
Where I live, there were smoke plumes and explosions. We could hear rapid gunfire, and everybody was wondering, where the help is. And eventually, I think you've seen in the video, there it is, a helicopter did come by and circled around for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, and it eventually landed apparently on the other side of one of the mountains to the north of me here. And I've since heard that yesterday evening 1,000 troops landed in the city, and that seems to have calmed things down.
Certainly some unexpected scenes for travelers there. Ryan Ski, we're also been talking with him. He's a Torontonian who is stranded in Puerto Vallarta. He spoke to CP24 about the situation there.
Yesterday, I felt a little bit stressed and unsafe. Although the general kind of vibe at the hotel, everyone kind of seemed to be under control. Staff were kind of keeping everyone calm. And I know that staff were also told to stay at the hotel overnight as well. And so everyone was it was kind of a safety first kind of thing. No one was really allowed to leave the hotel. But right now, feeling okay, just wondering when I'm going to be able to get home since Air Canada had canceled my flight yesterday. I was supposed to fly home.
And while Canadian Airlines have canceled many flights to Puerto Vallarta, some are still taking off, bound for other parts of Mexico. And for more on how violence in the country is affecting travelers, we're going to go live to CP24's Steve Ryan. You're stationed at Pearson Airport. What are you hearing from travelers?
Well, we are in the arrival section, and we spoke with a bunch of travelers who just come back from Cancun. Now, given Cancun is 2,100 kilometers from Puerto Vallarta, the best adjective I could describe or come up with when we're talking to these travelers was unfazed. Many of them that we talked with were completely unfazed with what had happened in Puerto Vallarta. They were concerned, of course, but most of them got their news from their phones. And for the most part, that was when family and friends from home would be contacting them and asking them if they had any information as to what went on in Puerto Vallarta. So it does seem to have been isolated in that one part of the country, according to the travelers that we spoke with, and many of them enjoyed their holiday. They had no concerns. I asked about heightened police presence, and only one person said that they noticed extra police on the roads, but that had nothing to do with them traveling as well. That could have been just one person's perception as to what more police cars could have been like on the road. For the most part, unfazed was the best way I could describe how those travelers felt. They're all happy to be home, mind you, but again, not real concerned with what went on in Puerto Vallarta. Here's a reaction from earlier on. Let's listen.
Seen a little bit on the news, and then she read some stuff on Facebook, but we were in
adventurous, so we weren't close to the action. There were a couple of news things that there were a couple of cars that were set on fire in Playa del Carmen, as well as in Cancun. But other than that, we didn't see anything. And along the highway, there was no policia or anything.
No extra security along.
Just normal as always in Mexico.
Two anxious people here waiting for their grandma to arrive. What's your name?
Sage. Delilah.
And Grandpa's in the back there. And what's your message for Grandma Joe?
Hi, Grandma. I miss you so much. Can't wait to see you. We love you, Grandma.
Nice glasses. Both of you. Grandma Joe, you got two special guests here waiting for you when you arrive home. And again, unfazed was the best adjective to describe those that arrived here from Cancun, 2,100 kilometers from Puerto Vallarta. Not real concerned with what happened. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks for that update, Steve. And, some folks are traveling in from Cancun, but there are some people that are in Puerto Vallarta.
Definitely. And we're reaching out to another one right now. We're joined live by Tiffany Morgan, a tourist from Kingston, Ontario, of course, just down the 401 from us here in the GTA, who's visiting Puerto Vallarta right now. Tiffany, kind of paint the scene for us right now. What are you looking at out your window when you're taking a walk?
Well, the waves are still crashing lovely on the beach as we're walking around downtown. There's not a whole lot of cars on the streets right now because they are still clearing the streets to allow for vehicles and stuff like that. But a lot of the tourists are out and about, walking around, getting their provisions, getting their lunches and their dinners right now. And life seems to be coming back to normal here.
Tiffany, how have people been feeling? Do you feel safe? Do you have any concerns right now?
I think the one message I really want to say is that we're all safe and sound here. I think many of us, a lot of my party, we're getting frantic messages from friends and family back at home, and no, we are definitely safe here. There have been, on Sunday, there were a few little scares. There was a little rush off the beach because someone saw a gunman on the beach. But for the most part, feeling safe, but being extra cautious, obviously.
And I know, Tiffany, you were telling me you saw some smoke. You showed me some images, too, of some damage that you've seen at a nearby store. I wonder if you could tell us more about that and also what the conversation is like with other Canadians, because I know there are plenty of them at the hotel you're staying at.
Oh, there's quite a few here. Yes, the mood is...
Oh, I think we've just lost our connection with Tiffany Morgan visiting Puerto Vallarta right now from Kingston, Ontario. We saw that the video there was a little bit touch and go also. So obviously some internet issues, some communication issues. As Tiffany mentioned, a lot of people communicating with family and friends back at home who want to know that they're safe. So a message there that Tiffany is okay at this point, that life may be getting back to normal. At least that's just one tourist account at this moment.
Yeah. All right. It's -6, feels more like -15. The time is 5:46. This is Live at 5.
And up ahead, Premier Doug Ford responding to the U.S. Supreme Court decision on tariffs. We're breaking that down.
The sexual assault trial of Frank Stronach heard from another complainant today. The woman telling court that Stronach turned into a different person inside his hotel suite, growing more aggressive the more she pleaded with him to stop. The woman is the fifth complainant to testify in the case. The 71-year-old says she first encountered Stronach through a friend in the early 80s. They reconnected when they crossed paths at a hotel restaurant about a decade later. Stronach, who is 93, has pleaded not guilty to a dozen charges involving 7 complainants. The charges stem from alleged incidents dating as far back as the 1970s.
The opposition is speaking out against the Ford government's plan to slash OSAP grants. Starting in September, the province will cap the amount a student can get in grants at 25%, with the remaining 75% of the financial assistance given as a loan. That's down from the current system where up to 85% could be forgiven. The premier says taxpayers don't want to fund students who choose career paths that don't drive economic growth. Critics say it's just adding to the amount of debt young people are facing at a time when youth jobs are hard to come by.
When you take a course, you have to look at in-demand jobs, something that we can drive our economy. And it's not a God-given right to take taxpayers' money.
We have the highest rates of youth unemployment in Canada. And the premier wants to talk about in-demand degrees. How are students going to afford that?
It's a punishment for being poor. It is a punishment for those who have gone through extreme hardship and cannot fight for themselves.
Raheem White is the high school representative with the Ontario Young Liberals and the former student trustee with the Dufferin Peel Catholic Board. He joined us live earlier today and says students should be given a chance to succeed from the start.
Investing in the future of this province, like, it's an investment. Education is it's something that's going to benefit us all. It's not for individual students. It's for the betterment of society. I think there's only something to gain here by helping students through the process, not sending them all to fend for themselves.
A Change.org petition calling for a reversal of the changes. It hit 3,000 signatures in less than 12 hours. It quickly grew to more than 7,000.
And Premier Doug Ford is responding to a U.S. Supreme Court decision that struck down sweeping tariffs. Ford says now is the time to act for the province and the country.
Make no mistake about it, President Trump still has a lot of tools, but I think it's the walls are closing in on President Trump. No matter if you saw him lose the vote and 6 Republicans cross the floor with Congress, then you saw the Supreme Court decision. We'll see how the Senate decision comes up, but I'm going to be on the phone full steam. And later on, I think in a month or so, I'm going to do a U.S. trip.
Canadian exports to the U.S. that comply with CUSMA are exempt from the new global tariffs announced by Trump. Auto, steel, and aluminum tariffs remain in place because they were imposed under different legislation. It's 5:54, -6, feeling more like -15 with the wind chill. This is Live at 5.
The Jays face the Mets today in Grapefruit League action this afternoon. The latest from spring training, that's coming up next.
A staple of Caribbean cuisine is being celebrated in the city today. It is the Jamaican Patty, and it's because it's Jamaican Patty Day. Free patties handed out at Union Station's Bay kiosks to mark the occasion. The event pays tribute to Toronto's so-called Patty Wars. They were in 1985. That was when food inspectors decided Jamaican patty vendors couldn't describe their offerings as beef patties anymore. Now, the issue was eventually resolved through a series of negotiations, and, well, Jamaican Patty Day was born.
It is one of the most tasty lunch, dinner, breakfast item you can imagine, and this has been incorporated into the community of Toronto in Canada. In fact, there is a patty shop anywhere you go throughout Canada, and this is a celebration of the influence of our culture in Canada.
And you can eat a patty any time of the day. I eat them for dinner. Organizers say that more than 3,000 patties were given away.
The Blue Jays squared off against the New York Mets in Grapefruit League action today. There he is in action. Third baseman Kazuma Okamoto put Toronto on the board in the second inning with his first home run as a Blue Jay. The two-run shot traveled 431 feet. The Mets would take the lead in the sixth inning before adding a homer of their own in the seventh. The Jays would get one back, but that is as close as they would come to this one, losing it 4-3.
-6, feeling like -15. Time is 5:59. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thanks so much for watching CTV News at 6. It is coming up next.